Good morning, good people. This is your Poolproof Wisdom Moment, Friday edition. We're about to head into another weekend, and I know if you've had any kind of week like I've had, man, are you ready for a weekend of doing either nothing or something that really brings you a great deal of joy. Whatever you do, always remember the weekend is for living, the work week is for working, if you can avoid it. Okay. So today I want to remind you of something that I think that tends to get lost in translation in this world where seeking affirmation and approval has become so important to everybody. Sometimes you've just got to be sure that what other people do has nothing to do with you. So what do I mean by that? It makes me think back to when I was a kid. And my mother used to encounter people who were rude and obnoxious and say and do things that simply made no sense. And I remember her always saying about certain of those people, that one over there, they woke up with hell in them this morning. They woke up with hell in them this morning, is what she would say. And as I grew older and started to encounter those types of experiences myself, man, did I really come to understand what she meant. Now, you will recognize those who woke up with hell in them in the morning by their very acts and nature. They're the person who, while you're trotting out on your way to wherever you're going on a given day, and you come across them in a hallway or on the street or in the supermarket, and you gleefully say, "Good morning, how are you?" They ignore you, or they give you a look, or they just make it clear that they want nothing to do with you, when all it would have required was a simple response back saying good morning. They didn't feel like it, they didn't want to do it, and while I do appreciate that we can never know what anyone is going through, something as simple as responding to someone when they say hello to you kind of proves, yeah, they probably woke up with hell in them this morning. Another example, you're at work and you're in a meeting, and someone is, of course, having a conversation about a topic, and you go and weigh in on it, and all of a sudden they unload on you with all kinds of vitriol for no reason, and you begin to wonder, what did I say? What did I do? Answer is nothing. They woke up with hell in them this morning. You can find numbers of examples throughout life. And the challenge we have is to, when we encounter those instances, don't stop and wonder what you're responsible for. Don't take on the burden of feeling responsible for whatever it is that made the person behave that way. Don't try to explain it away in terms of anything other than the fact that sometimes people wake up with hell in them in the morning, and you become the victim of it by virtue of simply trying to be a decent human, having a decent kind of day. When you don't take responsibility for other people's actions or their feelings, you free yourself up to simply be who you are, to have complete self-awareness about what you think and feel, and not get confused because you're conflating what someone else does with what you've done, and therefore somehow are consistently convincing yourself that you're responsible for it. Stop doing that. As you're heading into the weekend, don't take on responsibility for other people's feelings. Don't take on responsibility for other people's actions. As they say, you do you. You know you. You understand you. Gauge what you are receiving in return based upon what they're doing and not what you're doing, and I guarantee you, I absolutely guarantee you, you will be the happier for it. And by the way, if you happen to wake up one day with hell in you, try not to spill it out over other people. Keep it compartmentalized until you can get over it, because let's face it, nobody's got time for that. Nobody wants to deal with it, and if you don't want to be someone who is uncomfortable when you're a recipient of that type of behavior, do your very level best to try not to be that person who delivers it to other people as well. And that is your Poolproof Wisdom moment for today. You can find my podcast on Spotify, on Anchor.fm, on Apple and Google Podcasts, and well, a host of podcast platforms everywhere. I also want to encourage you to look into my audiobook, I Am My Own Cause, the third act, Surviving and Thriving. And I'm emphasizing that last part, surviving and thriving, because that's what I want you to do as much as I want it for myself. We've reached the weekend, people. Let's make it a good one, and we'll gear up again here beginning next week.